I didn't see that there was on the other side. Okay. I just thought there was the monitors here. I didn't see the ones. Oh, wow.
The map in there oriented.
Yeah, I didn't see the other monitors on the other side. I didn't see that there was on the other side. Okay. I just thought there was the monitors here. I didn't see the ones. All right, let's go ahead and we will call the meeting to order. We are a whole 1 minute early, 9:59. First of all, this is awesome. I'm glad we get to meet. For a lot of us, we have a couple new commissioners that we've not got to meet live yet together. And we will call the meeting to order. We are a whole 1 minute early, 9:59. Has everybody had a First of chance all, to look didn't see that there was over on the the other staff side. report that was sent out? For a lot of us, we have a couple new commissioners that we've not like got to to make a meet motion live to yet approve the together. staff report, And so we I'm will glad we're all call the here. meeting to order. We are a whole 1 minute early, 9:59. Has everybody had a First of all, chance to didn't look see that there was over on the the other staff side. delay? Okay. Hold on, guys. For a lot of us, we have a couple new commissioners that we've not like got to to make a meet motion live to yet approve the staff together. report, so And I'm we glad will we're all call the here. meeting to order. We are a whole 1 minute. I don't know that I can talk that slow.
Or want to.
So we have a motion to accept the staff report as presented. Anybody like to make a second?
I'll second the motion.
We have Casey second. Any other questions? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from the November 11th meeting? That was the last meeting we had. Is there any changes that need made? Any corrections? No? Okay. Anybody would like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented from the November 11th meeting?
I make a motion, we approve the meeting minutes.
Okay, thank you, Rob.
I'll second the motion.
Perfect. Any other discussion, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Perfect. Eric, do you have anything to tell us about the Driftwood Land LLC and what happened or anything or
Sure.
new on that?
Yeah, so Madam Chair, so basically what has happened is they are being required to go, well, not required, but Clearview Acres does not have the capacity to do the subdivision. Unfortunately, it was found out later on in the process and not early on. So they are pursuing going through the city of Rock Springs and then connecting into Foothill and actually using the city of Rock Springs water system.
Okay.
And so in order to do that, they're going to have to de-annex out of the improvement district and annex into the city. And so that's going to be quite the process, but that's the only way that subdivision is going to happen. They're looking at alternatives of possibly just doing a split and doing the commercial area. You know, there's a commercial business out there, and then leaving the rest of it as residential until a time can happen so that it can actually be constructed. So that's where we're at. So we will not be seeing this in the future. So unfortunately.
Yeah, that is too bad.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest question. Like, can they do the water? That's
Right.
I guess being in the situation I've been in, water's a big deal.
Right. Right.
So,
Exactly.
yeah. Oh, that's too bad. All right, we have two public hearings this morning. Public hearing number 1, Ronald Roy zoning map amendment from R2 single family to RR rural residential. And the applicant is here this morning. Eric, would you like to go ahead and
Sure.
do our presentation?
Sure. So the property owner is Ronald and Dorothy Roy, and the applicant is Ron Roy, and the legal description is in the northwest quarter, the southeast quarter, section 33, township 20 north, range 105 west. It's located at 35 Spangler Road, and the current zoning is single-family residential. It's also within the growth management area. So you can see it, the presentation up there. Infrastructure is Fire District 1. It's Spangler Road. It's in the 10-mile water and sewer district, Rocky Mountain Power, and then it's Old Dominion Energy. Provides natural gas out there. So Ronald Roy is requesting a zoning map amendment from single-family residential to rural residential. And the big differences between So we're keeping the area residential, but just for the new P and Z members, the big difference between R2SF and rural residential is you start moving towards agriculture as you go from R2SF to rural residential, and then the next step would be agriculture. Rural residential still is residential as a primary use, but what it does allow is 10-acre agricultural type of uses, which is what Mr. Roy would like to utilize the property for. It's intended for large parcels, rural residential is. So it is zoned R2SF, but it is 40 acres. So the other thing that's allowed in rural residential is you can exceed the square footage of your home with your accessory structures, because you're starting, like I said, to kind of move into more of an agricultural type use. So you can build structures that are larger because you have more space. So those are the big differences that you see between R2SF and rural residential. And that's his intention, is to construct a greenhouse, 200% of the existing home. And you can do that in R2SF, but you have to go through a conditional use permit. But with rural residential, you can just come in and get a permit for it. Okay.
Question, Eric, is there a minimum lot size on that restriction?
No.
Okay.
There is, well, there's a minimum lot size. Yeah, I should say that. It is 1 acre for rural residential. So you could do a rural residential subdivision. It's better if it's R2SF when you get into smaller lot sizes. You have to have water and sewer to be 1 acre. If in this area, there's only water, so you're on septic system. And so you would actually, but you could go to 2 acres if you wanted to, if they wanted to subdivide in the future.
Right.
Yep.
Thank you.
You bet. And so on the map there, you can see that let me see something here. Hold on just a sec. Okay, there's an adjacent subdivision to the west. That's Indian Knolls. And then to the east is another 40-acre parcel. And then down to the south there is a large lot subdivision. There's 4 lots with a lot right here that was just recently subdivided into 2. And then you've got Dakota Estates off to the southeast of the property. So as you can see, you've got, and then to the north is also a 40-acre parcel that's located. It's all residential. There's some pictures that you can see to the north, east, south, and west. So when we do zone map amendments, we want to make sure that that it's meeting the rules and regulations and the criteria. So the first one is it consistent with the current zoning resolution? As you can see, this is to accommodate, as I stated before, semi-rural in nature, which is what the status of the property is right now. Is it have suitable topography for residential? And yes, it does. It's relatively flat out there. Is it compatible with existing or allowable uses of adjacent properties? And remember, we're talking 10 acres of it you could utilize. That's not his intention, but we have to look at the big picture as to what you could do in the future. And it would be only 10 acres. It would not be the full 40 acres that you could do ag on with the rural residential. We've not received any, I have received a phone call just from an adjacent property owner wanting information on it, but I did not, as of today, have not received any comments, public comments concerning the zone map amendment. Can it demonstrate adequate public facilities? There's a public road that runs right past the property, Spangler Road. And then you've got drainage. There is a lot of area for drainage for the facilities that are being proposed. Potable water, there's public water available. Sanitary sewer is not available. Everything is septic. And then police and fire, the Sweetwater County Sheriff's Department and Sweetwater Fire District 1. So it has all of the necessary infrastructure for the zone map amendment. And it shall not adversely affect adjacent properties. We do not foresee any issues with that. And the request conforms to all applicable provisions. It does meet. So there's a difference between minimum lot size and minimum district size. So when you do a zone change, it has to meet a certain district area so that we're not spot zoning out there, like 1 acre zone changes here and there. And it's 5 acres for rural residential and we're 40. So we meet that criteria also. As far as comments, Jim Zimmerman, our code enforcement specialist, stated that the land use will need to review construction floor plans and require an IFC inspection. And then emergency management had no objections to the permit. Staff supports the request. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Perfect. Is there anything that you would, Mr. Roy, like to add to Eric's presentation or tell us about your project you're doing?
No, that's pretty much about it.
Okay, perfect. Well, does the board have any questions at this time? No. If not, we'll go ahead and we're going to open it up. Yeah, you bet. I'm going to go ahead and open it. Give me. Okay, you bet. We're going to go ahead and, Mr. Roy, if you'd like to go ahead and have a seat, we'll open it up for public comment. So if anybody from the public is here in favor of the zone amendment change, please come up and say what you'd like to say. Thank you.
I'm not specifically in or not in favor or in favor. The question my mother has is she has 62 acres out in that area, and she wants to know by them changing this, how it will affect her property, if that means that hers will be zoned that, or if every individual that owns property has to come in and fix how they want their property to be.
Okay, and can you go ahead and state your name for the
Oh,
record?
I'm
So
sorry.
that's okay, so that we have it on file.
Peggy Jerub,
Okay,
and I'm speaking for Lillian McMartin.
okay, perfect. That's a good question for Eric. Under my understanding, no, everybody's not going to have to do unless they're doing something of this nature.
They don't have to, no.
Mm-mm. No, so she, yep,
No.
everything with her property would be fine unless she was going to do something very similar. Mhm. Yeah. Awesome. Is there anybody in the public against the zone map amendment change? No? Okay, hearing none, we are going to go ahead and close the open comment from the public and ask commissioners if there's anything else you guys have questions with or for the applicant or Eric. Mm-mm.
No questions.
No? All right. If so, if somebody would like to make a motion or,
I'll make a motion to approve public hearing number 1, zoning map amendment, R2SF single family residential to RR rural residential.
thank you, Mark.
Second.
We have a second from Rob. Any other discussions before we call a vote? No? Okay. All those in favor for the amendment, zoning map amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Perfect. So Board of County Commissioners, the next meeting is on 1/19. So if you can be there for that, it will go in front of the county commissioners. Is it
30, 8:30.
Yeah, I was gonna say 8:30.
We'll be on first on the agenda too, so,
Oh,
yes.
you'll be so lucky, yes. Public hearing number 2, LR Communications and Lance Lauder for a conditional use permit telecommunication tower / facility. And is the applicant or property owners here, applicant here also? Okay, perfect.
So this one's pretty straightforward, Madam Chair. So this is a property owner's Green River Livestock, and applicant is LR Communication, Lance Lauder. And we'll show you a map here shortly. It'll be coming up, but you can see it in front of you that it's in the northeast quarter, section 28, Township 18 North, Range 107 West. And this is the current zoning as ag. It's also within the growth management area. That's why it requires a conditional use permit. Sweetwater County Fire Department's responding agency, Wyoming Highway 530, UNA Drive. Man's Face is the location, just familiarity to where it's being proposed. They're looking at acquiring a lease for 160 acres from Green River Livestock. And then they're going to have an access easement to the property also to provide access to the site. It's a new communication facility that's being proposed. An 8 foot by 18 foot control building, solar panels, communication tower will also be a part of it. It's a 20-foot tower. I'm assuming this is for Wi-Fi. Is that correct? Internet, okay, just so you know, this is not a cell tower, but it's, if you're aware, LR Communication, VCN is the other one. Provides better internet speeds than some of the carriers. I won't say who, but
Yes, we were just talking.
yeah. So it's a very important service, obviously. Seeing that also with everything that's happened, that we have good internet, right?
Yes.
Okay, so a proposed buried communication cable will follow an existing trail road. And it's an area adjacent to the city of Green River. So this will be in, for Green River residents. And they provided a site plan. You know, basically there's, I've seen a lot of these communication sites. Just show you the public notification, location of the tower. You can kind of the south. So as far as, is it consistent with the comprehensive plan? We encourage growth and development in an orderly manner. Obviously, this tower provides better coverage. It's a good thing. The staff and the community would like to see. So definitely supportive of the application. It will not adversely affect adjacent properties. That's where you put these towers, is in an area so up on a ridge so that you can get as much area as you can. Compatible with existing or allowable uses. As you know, we have lots of communication towers in the area, so it'll be compatible. Does it have adequate public facilities? So they're working on access easements and such for the actual infrastructure there. These unmanned communication sites are exempt from the fire code. So pretty much what they want to do as far as access road is up to them, as long as adequate provisions for maintenance of the use. They're seeking a large lease area, so it'll provide adequate setbacks, no issues there. No adverse effects of the natural environment for what they're doing. No undue anticipated traffic congestion, obviously, because it's an unmanned communication site. And do not see any adverse effects on public health, safety, or welfare. And it's conformed to all the provisions of the zoning resolution. City of Green River, I won't go through those. I did forward those to the applicant. Andy Hooten had a lot of questions for the applicant. I reached out, sent that information over to Lance, and you know, maybe you can fill us in. What's that? Okay. Oh, you haven't? Okay. So I would just recommend, I'll get this information to you then, and then you can reach out to Andy Hooten and answer some of his questions. A lot of those really did not pertain to the county, more to the city, so we'll get those to you. City of Green River, Amy Cox, their planner, they did not have any comments. Emergency management had no concerns. And staff is in support of the application. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Perfect. So if you want to come up and introduce yourself, and if you have anything you want to add to Eric's presentation or.
So my name is Lance Lauder. I'm president of LR Communications. I think Eric covered the application pretty well. It's actually 2 small tower sites we're talking about constructing kind of up behind Mansface. The reason for this installation is because of our inability to succeed with a lease from the city of Green River, actually on the more straightforward area on Mansface themselves. And since it's been kind of an obstinate struggle there, we decided to go back with a private landowner and go back a little further, build 2 sites. The 2 sites, quote unquote, are, you know, 1 tower on this portion of the land and 1 on the other side, so that we actually don't have a shadow from the face of Mansface itself in our coverage area.
Oh.
And so by bringing this service closer to town, we'll be able to offer up to gig speed in Green River, which is a significant improvement all the way around.
Perfect.
I think that pretty well covers it.
Awesome.
Any questions?
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. At this time, we'll go ahead and open it up for public comment. If there is anybody within the audience that would like to talk in favor of the conditional use permit, you could come up now. Is there anybody against the conditional use permit for LR Communications? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and close the public comment and open it back up to the board. Does anybody on the board have any questions for Eric or the applicant regarding the application? No, pretty straightforward, I think, too. We could definitely use always better cell, or not cell, but internet, yes. All right, perfect. With that, would anybody like to make a motion on the conditional use permit?
I'll move that we accept or recommend the conditional use permit.
We have a first from Kelly,
I'll second that.
a second from Casey. Any other discussion? No? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. So again, you'll be county commissioners on the 19th at 8:30 also. If we could have you here for that and get your final approval. Okay. Do we have any other business, Eric, out there?
Just so you're aware, Pacific and Atlantic Soda Ash is starting the NEPA process. So that new Trona mine going south of Green River has started into the NEPA process. On next Tuesday, we're seeking approval of an MOU to be a cooperator. So you'll start seeing that project moving forward. It will require an industrial siting permit. It'll require zoning map amendment. So you will see at some point, probably in this next year, a zone map amendment that supports having that type of facility there. So it's a little premature right now, but you will see it in the future. They're doing some research and development right now. So that's the big project that we see. And I haven't really heard anything. We'll see what happens as far as these solar facilities that being proposed. I have not heard anything as far as the Raven solar project. We've heard possible solar projects that are going by the airport, and then there is that one that's going south of Wamsutter that will be in Sweetwater County and Colorado. So I haven't heard anything on that either, but just so you know, those are some of the big projects that are going on right now. Of course, this mine expansion is a huge one. So just wanted to make sure you're aware what's coming on in the future. We won't have any hearings next month. Nothing scheduled. We will in March, but we are going to start getting into this is the time we like to update our codes. We need to update our subdivision regulations. They're way outdated. So I know that's something that Gene and myself and Megan are going to be working on. Also, the master transportation plan, that needs to be reworked, obviously, and we'll be working on that. Those are our goals this winter. You know, we adopted the 2015 zoning resolution and all that hard work we did there, but now it's time to get into the subdivision regs and work on that. What I would like, once we get to the point, Madam Chair, I would like to at least have one or two P&Z members involved as far as with the subdivision regulations that have experience in subdivision regulations. Not that I'm looking at you, Rob, but you are an engineer. So that would be my recommendation, at least having Rob on there and someone else. I'd like to do that because that way when things seem to go smoother when you get to the Planning and Zoning Commission, when we have a couple of members commenting back and forth. So if we could assign those today, that'd be great. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Perfect. Rob, is that something you're up for?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I am not opposed. I don't know, but somebody else might have a lot more experience with that than myself.
I'm just developing it.
I'm like,
I will help if need be.
Okay.
okay, perfect.
Works
And
for me.
she's good? All
Yep,
right.
that's
All right,
great.
perfect. So
Awesome.
Casey and Rob, that would be wonderful.
Perfect. I'll reach out to you guys when.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Madam Chair. That's all I have.
Awesome. Well, anybody else have any other business they would like to share or anything?
I'm just glad we're back.
Me too. I know. Feels like a little normalcy.
Yeah, something normal.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I guess we will adjourn. It is 10:23. We were super quick today. Thank you, everybody. Have a great